Hi, and welcome to San Francisco. I'm Captain David with Spinnaker Sailing here at Pier 40. Today we're going to talk about the rigging of the Andrews 21. What we want is a repeatable system. This allows us to inspect the gear, ensure the boat is rigged correctly, and that the boat is ready to sail. From the dock, I'll look over the boat and see if anything jumps out at me, like a halyard wrapped around a stay or a shroud. I'll also inspect the dock lines for any chafing. And I'll check the fenders and see how they've been secured. If they've been attached with a round turn and 2 half hitches, I'll change them to a clove hitch, because that's easier to untie underway. So let's get on board and start our rigging system. The first thing I want to do is remove the companionway covers and put them in the dock box. Now we're ready to remove the sail cover. In your class, there'll be more than one person, but for this, it's just me, so I'm going to do it on my own. The first thing we want to do is open all the clasps at the bottom of the cover and at the mast. You may also have to untie a short line at the back of the cover. If you are in the cockpit, the main sheet will drop from the clasp. Let's uncoil that and lay it at the cam cleat away from people kicking it. This is also a good time to check it over for any chafe. Because the sail cover is so small, with 2 people we can actually fold it just like a sheet by taking both ends, pulling it up, and then folding it together. But because it's just me, I'm just going to fold it on my own and then stow it down below. Before we find the halyard and attach it to the main, you want to check the main for any reefs in it. Your instructor will go over this. I've already checked, so we're just going to move on to the halyard. When the boat is put away after sailing, we take the halyard and attach it here at the back of the boom. Now, it doesn't serve any mechanical function, but it does keep the halyard from slapping against the mast and bothering other sailors at the dock. But before we can remove this and bring it to the main, we need to go down below and make sure it is uncleated. This is a shackle. Let's inspect it, checking for any breaks or cracks, and also check the knot and see if there's any wear there. So I'm going to release the halyard. But remember when we were at the dock and we were looking the boat over, we saw that the halyard, this halyard, was wrapped around the backstay. So I'm going to release this and go ahead and fix that. And now I can take it up to the main. So here's the shackle. This is where the shackle attaches to the head of the main. Once that shackle is secure, I can then feed it into the track just past the gate. Now what I need to do is go down below and take the slack out of the halyard. Once the slack is out, we can take the halyard and secure it right here at the port side jib cleat. This will make raising the main easier. While still at the mast, I want to check 2 things. First, I want to make sure the downhaul hook is not in a kringle and it is uncleated. I can adjust this once the sail is up. Secondly, I want to make sure the tension is released on the boom vang. If it is tight, it'll prevent the main from going all the way up. With the mainsail ready, we can move on to our jib. Now, the Andrews 21 school boats used hank-on jibs versus the roller furler. This allows us to change sails for varying wind conditions. Our jib is located down below along with the jib sheets. Before we attach the jib, we are going to bring the bow in alongside the dock and make our lives easier. Let's lay out the jib and identify its 3 attachment points. Our first clue on the sail is the hanks. That tells us where the luff is. Based on that, we can see the top of the sail, or the head. Then the tack at the bottom of the luff, and the clue at the bottom of the leech and foot. Let's look at the first attachment point for the jib. This is the tack on the boat. It is a snap shackle similar to the shackle on the main. We need to open that to attach it to the tack on the jib. While we're here, see this white ball? By putting the hanks on above this ball, it prevents the hanks from sliding down onto this swage, and it keeps the sail from binding up during the raise. Flaking the jib on works best with two people, because as we attach the hanks, we're also flaking it. But because it's just me, I've pre-flaked the jib, and now I'm going to attach the hanks. The key in attaching the hanks is make sure they're all going in the same direction. With the jib attached to the forestay, we can now attach the jib halyard. The raising end of the halyard is located on the port side of the mast. You can see it has been coiled and put away so it doesn't fly around. Let's pull that out and uncleat it from the cam cleat, creating slack at the other end. The end of the jib halyard that attaches to the head of the sail is here. It's been attached to this D-ring with a bowline. So we're going to go ahead and break that bowline and free that up, and we're going to take it to the head of the jib. But before you do, make sure it is not wrapped around the forestay. Now attach the halyard to the head with a bowline. Once secured, take the slack out of the line and lock the halyard back into the cleat on the mast. With the jib ready to raise, we can attach the jib sheets. We'll do this by using a bowline for each line. Once attached, we'll redirect the lines back to the cockpit through a series of fair leads. Now we can add the stopper knot and coil the lines and place them over the cam cleats. So the main and the jib look great, and we're almost ready to push off, but we still have a couple of more things to do. So let's get to that. Here you can see the tiller has been secured by a couple of lines. Those are the tensioning lines for the backstay. Let's release those and take the lines off the tiller. Now I'm going to retension the backstay lines from each side and then coil and tuck the slack on each side. The last thing I want to check is the traveler. This can get kicked often and it releases the traveler, causing it to go to one side or the other. I want to make sure it is centered and each line is locked off to its individual cam cleat. Well, there you go. The boat is ready to sail. The rigging process is important. Take your time and do it well. And remember, it's also the time to inspect your gear. You want to have the safest sail possible. So until next time, cheers.